So you are welcome once again to our lecture. We are continuing to look at the peer review process, and the course facilitator is still Dr. Kahwa Mark, Faculty of Education, Mountains of the Moon University. Before we went for a break, we had already introduced the different types of peer review, and we had looked at the first one, the single blind peer review. We now look at the double blind peer review. Now, in a double blind peer review, both the author and the reviewers are not aware of each other's identity. So it means that if I'm the author of my article, and you are the reviewer, you don't know my identity, and I also don't know your identity. So normally what happens when you submit your manuscript, so the editor, the chief editor, will remove all those details on the first page, where you have the institutional affiliation, where you have your names. So we'll remove all those and we'll just send the manuscript with just the title and all the other subsections. So as we said, that one assists to remove bias. Can you imagine if your work, for example, landed into the hands of your enemy? You are an author, you wanted to publish, but your work lands onto somebody who is a reviewer, but that reviewer is your enemy. Of course, what you expect is not the best from such an evaluation. So the double blind really in academia or in the publication process helps to remove that bias, which bias can first of all affect the quality of work. The third type is what we call the open peer review. In an open peer review, identities of both author and reviewers are known. So if I am the author and you are the reviewer, all of us will know each other and we shall work together. We shall work together. So I can ask you where maybe I need to improve or where I don't understand some things. So the whole process is transparent and the whole process is open. But this is a very rare type of peer review. But a good example for this, the open peer review, is if you look at, for example, the institutional level, where maybe you are writing your dissertation or you are writing your thesis. You as a student, you are known to your lecturer. But also the lecturer also knows you as a student. So as you exchange, he reviews your work or he or she reviews your work. So all of you work together and you know each other. So that is what we call, or that is what we term as open peer review. The fourth is what we call the post-publication peer review. Post. Here the journal provides a platform such as a discussion forum for the post-publication commenting. So here it means that the journal will connect the two parties, will connect the authors and also will connect the reviewers. There can be an open forum where you can always, post your inquiries or post things that you don't understand, and then the reviewers can respond, or the reviewers can also ask something about your manuscript that is not clear, and then you also respond. So we call that the post-publication peer review. But also, this one can also be looked at from another angle. It would also mean that once your papers have been published, once your article has been published, so there is a forum that will keep open. So when the reviewers, again, maybe have some additional comments they can make on your work, they can send them. So you also have some additional contributions you can make. You also post them, or you can also send them. So that is what we call the post-publication peer review. Now, third-party peer review. Now, authors get their manuscripts reviewed by an independent review service long before they are officially submitted for review. The reviews help the authors to improve their chances of acceptance and publication. So the third-party peer review is actually something that I would encourage every author, and especially for the novice authors, to embrace. Because here it means just before even you finalize your work and submit it to a journal for publication, you have some people, someone who is mentoring you. And sometimes we call this academic mentorship. People who journey with you, who go through your work, with whom you can consult, and so that you can perfect your work before you eventually submit it. So they call this the third-party peer review. And this is something really that is not very strange. We always consult each other. So we always consult each other. We always consult those people we know can give us authentic answers. The sixth is a collaborative peer review. Here the journal provides a platform where the authors and the reviewers openly share ideas on how to improve the manuscript. The last one is cascading peer review. When a manuscript is rejected after review, the editor-in-chief suggests to the author to accept the paper to be transferred to another journal. Because the editors, and particularly the chief editors, they always collaborate with other journals, with other publishers. So if they see your paper and maybe it doesn't fall within the scope of this journal, then they can always advise that you transfer this journal to the most suitable journal. So we call that the cascading peer review. Now, revision after submission. We already mentioned that when you submit your work, you will expect about 4 responses. One of the responses is accept as is. There it means that your work has any single mistake. Your work is 100% perfect, and therefore it will just be accepted as is without making any correction whatsoever. So that is the most likely response you can get. The second most likely response you will get is accepted with major changes. So there it means that yes, your work has been accepted, but you still have more work that you can do. And with major changes, it would mean that maybe you are changing an objective. It would mean that maybe you are going to, repeat an analysis. It would mean maybe you are going to repeat the methodology, to revise the methodology. So, and sometimes you can even be pushed back maybe for data collection. So with the major corrections, it means that as an author, you still have a lot of work to do. You can also get a response where your work is accepted with minor corrections. And with minor corrections, maybe these could just be like the stylistic arrangements, the spelling mistakes, could be, those minor mistakes. But also your work can be rejected. Your work can also be rejected. So if your work is rejected, it means it cannot be published within that article. I mean within that journal or within that publisher. So therefore, a revision after submission. So now when you get this, how do you revise? How do you revise your manuscript? Now in general, the peer review process includes the following steps. First, the author submits the manuscript to the editor. The editor can either reject the manuscript or send it back to the author or send it award to selected peer reviewers. Next, the peer review process occurs. The reviewer provides feedback, assessing any major or minor issues with the manuscript, and gives their advice regarding what edits should be made. Lastly, edited manuscript is sent back to the author for revision. Now, carefully study the comments of the reviewer and prepare a detailed letter of response. So for when you receive these comments from the reviewers, you as an author, you are supposed to attend to each and every comment that has been given by the reviewer. Consider reviewing as a discussion of your work. Then learn from the comments and join the discussion. Now prepare a detailed letter of response. Now, when you are responding, you are not just going to respond without preparing a detailed response. So you are supposed to prepare that detailed response. Just in a few minutes, we are going to see how the structure of that response should look like. State specifically what changes you have made to the manuscript. While referring to the changes made, give page and line numbers. Now, don't make a grave error of discussing in general sense and not being able, clear what changes have been made. So this is normally something that you need to pay attention to discuss in general sense and be clear what changes have been made. So all those details must be included in the response letter. Now you provide a scientific response to the comments you accepted. You present a convincing, solid and polite rebuttal to the point you think the reviewer is wrong. You revise the whole manuscript, not just the parts of the reviewers, and not just the parts the reviewers pointed out. Then minor revision does not guarantee acceptance after revision. So do not count on acceptance, but address all comments carefully. So that one is very, very important, members, that you have to prepare your response, your revision response very well, so that you submit it to the reviewers. So we can now go for a break, and when we return, we shall pick up from here. So thank you so much.